What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Title Boxing Club in Pittsford, New York, also known as the Boogeyman. Me, Alex, known as the Boogeyman. Not so much Title Boxing Club in Pittsford, New York, but once again, I want to ask you members of Title Boxing Club in Pittsford, New York, what you want to focus on this week. What do you want the focus point to be? What is giving you trouble? What challenges you? What questions you have that I can answer that maybe other people have as well? And I'm going to go this week to Gabby G. She comes in at 5 in the morning and she's got energy. I don't know how she does it, but she's got a lot of it. It's infectious. It brings light into the whole class. She even asked me good questions at 5 in the morning. I don't know how she does that either. So take it away, Gabby. What are we going to work on this week? What do you want to know more about?
Hey, Alex. Question about hooks and crosses on the bag. When I throw the hooks, sometimes the hook isn't going to hit the bag, and then other times I feel like I can't fully extend on the cross.
See, you did it again. There's another thoughtful question, and it's an interesting one too, because there isn't necessarily a simple answer that's what you might expect, I guess. So I will refer to this. We talk about throwing crosses and hooks on the heavy bag. Now, crosses and hooks, the lead hook, cross, they go together like peaches and cream, like peanut butter and chocolate, so long as it's in a Reese's peanut butter cup. My favorite candy, by the way, in case you're wondering. They go together really well. The cross, hook, cross, 2, 3, 2, all that stuff. But when you're hitting a heavy bag, there is sometimes, and not everybody notices this, but sometimes there is an issue, a dichotomy, if you will. I call it the cross-hook dichotomy, or perhaps the hook-cross dichotomy, as long as it has dichotomy in there, because I think it makes me sound smart, even though that may not be what a dichotomy is. Dilemma, paradigm, paradox. Anyway, I don't know, but allow me to demonstrate what this dichotomy, or whatever it is. All right, so first, let us examine the cross and the lead hook, the 2 and the 3 punch on their own to better explain this dichotomy, dilemma, paradox, or paradigm. If I throw my cross, my right hand, as I am right-handed, I'm going to rotate, turn my shoulders, turn my hips, and I'm going to extend my arm out as far as I can go. I'm keeping my elbow in, I'm rotating, I'm extending. I'm not leaning forward, I'm just twisting and extending. Now, if I were to throw my lead hook, I'm not going to extend. I'm going to bring my arm up into an L shape, pull like this, and I'm going to turn. I'm going to turn my hips into the punch, nice and quick. So, here's what happens when you hit a heavy bag. Imagine I throw the cross and I get full extension, but the follow-up punch is a hook, a lead hook. If I just throw it normally, I'm going to miss the bag pretty considerably. So I throw my cross, lead hook doesn't hit the bag. Now, this may not be an issue for you, and you may wonder why, and there are several reasons. But first, the bag moves. So depending on your arm length, how fast you hit, how hard you hit, how quickly you bring your hand back, it's very possible you could throw your cross, and then the bag when it comes back in, you hit it with a hook, and it all kind of works itself out. That's very nice. Sometimes life is like that. Now, sometimes we have to make adjustments, and a lot of times in boxing, we do. So there's a couple ways you can adjust to this. So you throw your cross, I can do what I just kind of did accidentally in that last segment, where I extend, not necessarily my arm, you never want to straighten your arm out like this. Please don't do that. You want to always keep that bend, but I'm doing a longer range lead hook to make up for the distance after that cross. The other thing, and this is something that I tend to do a lot more when I'm taking classes, is I adjust with my feet, footwork. So I throw the cross, the bag's too far away, I'm stepping in and throwing the lead hook. This ties into our focus point last week. Remember when I talked about stepping forward, jab, cross, hook, uppercut, getting used to stepping on every punch? This is very helpful to the heavy bag or a moving target that you're trying to hit, because if I'm setting it up, boom, 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 I can get in there and still get my lead hook without having to extend too long, try to throw too long range of a hook, and still land it in the right spot. So that is the first version of this dichotomy that I'm talking about, where you throw the cross first and follow it with the hook. The inverse also has a strange issue, and it's a little bit different. If I'm in close range and I throw my hook and I'm in optimum hook range, and then I want to throw my cross, look what happened. My arm's not extended. It's smothered because it's so close to the bag. Now, there's a couple ways you can deal with this, and it's different than how we dealt with the inverse. So if I throw my hook, and let's say I'm just too close to throw a properly extended cross, I can still push through the bag. I can still extend my arm punching through the bag. You just have to be careful that you're not doing this, pushing, that it's still a quick motion. You're still completing the motion, but it's quick. And you bring the hand back. Now, this is a 100-pound heavy bag. Not everybody can quickly snap through a punch like that. So, if your cross is smothered, this is always a good option. It is. It's okay. You can throw it. Sometimes that happens. It happens in boxing all the time. A short right hand, you'll see it all the time. If somebody's in close, you throw that cross, hey, maybe you're not extended. It's not always going to work out that way. That's okay. One thing I don't want you to do is what we did in the last example. I don't want you to necessarily use your footwork, or at the very least, I don't want that to be the default. So for instance, we see this a lot. Somebody throws a hook, they're in close, and they naturally step back so they can get full extension on the cross. Now that is absolutely something you would do in boxing, provided if you were trying to hit an opponent and you were trying to move out of the way and then catch them with a cross, or move back, catch them with a cross, because you're both moving, you're fighting a moving target. Heavy bag moves, but not the same way. I don't want that to be the default. So if it's just, we're in and we're gonna throw a hook, cross, hook, I don't want it to be hook, cross, hook. A little bit of adjustment's one thing, but you don't want to get in the habit of stepping back on your crosses all the time. My suggestion would be accept it and just throw your short right hand, or again, you could try to punch through that target and then adjust to the next lead hook with the footwork. Like I said, this stuff's a little bit tricky. It's one reason why people don't like to bring it up, I think, when talking about the heavy bag, because there's not a neat, clean answer. And again, it may not affect you because we're all different. We all have different ways that we punch. So you might not even have noticed it. You might be adjusting and not know it. If so, great. Otherwise, maybe you have other dichotomies, other things that don't seem to work. And I want you to think about how you can use your footwork, as we talked about, moving while punching. A good one too. You're throwing jab crosses and it's body shots. Yeah, you want to step in and throw those body shots. So thinking about how your footwork can help you address these things if they feel off. If you find yourself leaning forward, that means you got to move in. We'll talk about that more this week in classes. I want to see all of you guys being very scientific, thinking about these dichotomies, working on these dichotomies, working through these dichotomies, and improving your technique. Because when you do, everything will improve. Life, boxing, everything. Because according to science, technique equals everything.